Hello everyone, and thanks for watching. Every single week I'm going to interview one of our members and ask them to share their story. So today I have Summer.
Hey.
How are you feeling today?
Yeah, good. Really good. Thank you.
Do you like being interviewed? Do you like being on camera? Do you like hearing the sound of your own voice?
No, not at all.
It was very unnerving for me at one point, but I've gotten over it. Believe it or not, it used to really embarrass me.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I'm the same. It's not a thing for me. So
Okay, cool.
I'll roll with it.
So we'll start with some questions, but what this, I guess, interview is all about is you shared a before and after a few months ago, and it was the opposite of most before and afters that we see and that we post. So first things first, how long have you been a member of Breakthrough for?
I joined in August 2019, so probably 2 years if my maths is correct, maybe.
Yep, 2 years and two pandemics ago.
Yes, that's exactly it.
And I think it might be a good reminder for people at Cardiff that are new. We didn't always have this nice brand new gym in Australia.
No.
So where did you start out, Summer?
I started in Wallsend with, I think his name is Ryan. Like, I think he's now in Curry.
We can still talk about Ryan. We're still friends.
Yeah, I think I just forgot his name. I think it's Ryan. So like, I hope it is. And yeah, I remember going because my sister and my mum had started going and they were going for months and they'd always talk about how amazing it was. And my wedding was coming up. And so I thought, oh, cool. Like, let me try get into shape or like tone up a bit before my wedding. And so that was kind of the motivation to start. And then when I started, I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is my thing.
We're going to debunk that word tone at the end of the call.
Yeah.
We'll go from there. So it was your first gym experience. Is that fair?
Kinda like back in South Africa, we went to gyms, but it wasn't like a boot camp. It was pretty much like a anytime fitness kind of vibe where you just go and then I just like probably run on the treadmill for 20 minutes and call it a day. Like, so it wasn't really, probably the first proper gym.
Did you look at the weights and you were unsure of what to do, or it used to scare you, or why were you on the treadmill?
Yeah, there were always men in the men in like the weight section, and there was never any woman, and it was always very intimidating. So I thought, I'm not going to be that person who has no clue what they're doing in the weight section. So I'm just going to stay on my treadmill.
And what year was this? Were you petrified of the weights?
Jeepers, right up until like 2017, 2018. So I was,
So not that long ago. Far out.
Yeah.
I think people would look at you today, especially our members, would look at you and aspire to be as fit and as strong with you, but they don't know what it took to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
The view is always nice from the top of the hill.
Yeah.
People just don't see you climbing that hill, right? Like Mitch is in incredible shape year round, but I've known him for 18 years and he's been exercising for 16 of them.
Yeah.
Right? It can just take time sometimes.
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
So the gym wasn't for you, or it was boring, you didn't enjoy it? Is that?
I just had no real concept of how to use some of the equipment. So it was kind of like I got to it and then I wasn't sure how to use the stuff. So I was like, well, I won't bother with that because I didn't really have any knowledge on like correct form, technique, what weights are appropriate, what different like muscle groups I could work. So it was just a whole bunch of unknowns really. So I didn't feel confident at any part of the gym really other than the treadmill.
Did you think weights would make you feel bulky?
Yes. Oh, that was definitely a belief I had for so long. Like I'd see all these like athletes with just incredible, like they were just huge. And I think, oh no, they must be lifting heavy weights because like that's obviously how you get big muscles. I naively just assumed and didn't have any knowledge on what was actually true and not.
Yeah. I think especially with females and weightlifting, the perception definitely has changed. But I remember like girls literally thought that if you had a protein shake and did a set of squats, you'd have these big bulky quads.
Yeah.
And those same girls 5 years later are still chasing those bulky quads.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It definitely is challenging for a female to build muscle. It requires years of dedication, not to mention being in a calorie surplus, so eating more calories than you're consuming. And that's what I got you on here for, because sometimes the answer is to eat more food, but it's very hard for a girl to do that.
Definitely.
And why would you feel that way? Why do you think girls feel that way?
Oh, I think we're just stuck in this societal world where it is shifting. So I reckon in the past maybe 5 years, there is starting to be that shift where like strong is sexy in a way, like for lack of a better term. But it used to be very the skinnier the better, and whatever it took to get that. And also I was a dancer back in South Africa, so I was constantly in front of mirrors, constantly in tight clothing. So it was very critical of like my body and what I look like. And so I just stopped eating, and it kind of got to that point where that's just how you assume like to lose weight or look the best. You just have a restrictive diet. And so it just became this like vicious cycle. And I see how girls kind of get caught up in that because it's all over social media. It's all over, the models and what we see out there. And so it's pretty sad, but it is the reality of, I guess, our world at the moment.
I've got to unpack about 10 things you said then. Let's go right back to the start.
Yeah.
You were dancing and you weren't comfortable with how you felt in your body. Was that pressure that you put on yourself? Was that pressure you felt from peers of your dance studio? Like, where did that pressure come from?
I think it definitely mostly came from myself. I think you look around and you compare yourself to others. And I think that was probably my biggest downfall, that I was never, I guess, satisfied with how I look like. I was always comparing, and that was probably my biggest pressure, was myself.
Were you comparing to other girls in your class? Were you comparing to girls that you saw on the internet? Like, who were you comparing yourself against?
Everyone and anyone who I thought had the most ideal body. That's who I was comparing myself to. It was very negative.
What did you think the ideal body was?
Oh, skinny, like the thigh gap.
I hate the thigh gap.
Yeah, just like collarbones, just like anything that like just was very petite, I guess. That's what I was striving for sure.
So anything that would display a really low level of body fat?
Yeah.
Because you thought that would give you more self-worth, or you thought that's what people wanted to look at?
Yeah, definitely. Or I thought I'd be happy. I thought like once I reached a certain weight, I'd be like the happiest I've ever been. And it was just this ideal that I looked up to, I guess, and wanted to achieve.
And was it a number on the scale of the weight?
No, because when I thought I reached that weight, I was probably the unhappiest I've ever been. And that it just was never satisfied. I was never satisfied with the number I saw.
And to get down to that low number, what was that number?
42 kgs was the lowest I got.
And this was like 2017. Is that, we're still in that timeline? Or?
Yeah, 2016, 2017. It was.
Fire up.
I remember eating half a banana and I was full. Like I couldn't eat anymore. I was absolutely stuffed.
Were people around you worried? Did they know?
Yeah, I guess with body disorder. What's the word?
Dysmorphia?
Yeah, body dysmorphia. Like it comes with a lot of deceit as well. So my mum, for instance, I'd go to school and I'd pack so much food, but then I'd just throw it all away, or I'd give it to my friends. So she thought I was eating a healthy amount, but I was just having half a banana. So there was a lot of like deceit within myself. And I think when I started to really lose a lot of weight, that's when my mum and my family were like, whoa, what's going on? Like something's not right. And it actually got to a point where I traveled to New York to dance in New York. And I remember my mum calling me because I would have a hot chocolate for breakfast. And then I would train for 2-3 hours, and then would like go see a show for like 2-3 hours, go back to the studio, train for another 4 hours, stay out late going to productions, and I would only get home at maybe about like midnight, sometimes 1 a.m. And all I'd eat the whole day is a hot chocolate.
Wow.
And I remember my mum calling me. It was back in the day when I didn't have a phone, so she'd like call my coach, and then my coach would pass it on to me. And she was like, if you don't eat something, I'm hopping on the plane and I'm coming to New York. And so it kind of got to the point where it really started to affect everything around me. Like I had massive mood swings. I couldn't hold down food. I was just lethargic all the time. But I was still striving to reach that like perfect ideal body, and I just never got it. Never.
And what was because anyone listening who might be overweight says 42 kilos is extremely underweight, skinny, you must have been lean, you must have had abs. How can't you not be happy with that?
Yeah.
It's just like we're trying to aim for this goal that isn't even real.
No.
You can always make improvements, like in your own mind, right?
Oh, definitely.
I've had this discussion with many girls. They get to a certain level of like body fat where you are now, for example, like, oh, I want to lose a kilo or 2 kilos. I'm like, oh, well, you can do that, but understand that that requires not having Thai with Jonty on Saturday night because you can't track that food.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you end up just need to weigh up what's more important to you. Is it that extra kilo of weight loss and the stress that would put on yourself and your relationship and everyone around you, or just understanding that it's just not that important?
It's not.
It really isn't. So when you were 42 kilos, you're in New York, Sam's worried about you. What was the breaking point? What was the point where you realized something has to change?
My body started to shut down. Like certain organs would just stop working. And so that really started to scare me because I was losing like a lot of functions in my organs and stuff. Like it started off very like slowly, but then it really was progressive. And that scared me enough to go, whoa, crap, like I really need to turn this around because...
Don't beat around the bush. Like when girls get extremely lean and unhealthily, as in like they lose their period.
Yeah, definitely. And that started to happen. And like one thing I've always wanted to be was to be a mum. And so to know that that was really what was happening and that could affect me potentially having kids one day, it was the wake up that I needed because I was like, I can't do that. Like,
and then let's forget about Jonty and having time a Saturday night. Like if your lifelong ambition is to be a mum, is that really worth risking for a few extra kilos?
No.
No. And especially when like you're comparing yourself to others, people that you don't know. So it really is just like, when girls come to me and say, I want to lose weight, I'm like, you look great. Like you don't need to. And I almost want to grab their phone and look at their Instagram Explore and just see who they're following. And if I open up their phone, I'm going to see WBFF, IFBB, INC, NABA, and all these bikini models and like, I guess, girls that specialize in physique competitions.
Yeah.
It's just really not worth it. And like, are they the people that you should be looking up to? Should they be your role models?
I don't know. Like, there's very few people I look up to because if I see someone looking a certain way, say for Di, like I really look up to her because like I know how hard she trains. I know how much nutrition she follows. And like, so I feel like I look up to people now where like in the past I would see those people and look up to them where I'm like, I actually can see this person like walking the walk and talking the talk. Like that is more inspirational because I know she's putting in the work. She's doing everything that she needs to. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I really do look up to people that I kind of have a relationship with and see that more than I do on social media because half of it's fake. Like you can edit anything.
Yeah. Well, and I guess you just respect someone's worth ethic and discipline more than you respect the end product.
Absolutely. And like you said, it takes months. Like it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication and commitment for that to happen. And so when I see it on social media, I'm like, oh, you could have just edited that. Like, I mean, good if you did put in the work and that's awesome, but I don't know. Like, I don't know that person or I don't know them enough to make that decision or.
Yeah. And just like, it's just, I think girls are more aware than ever before that like we all don't start at the same level.
Yeah.
Like some girls are genetically gifted, some men are genetically gifted, some people hold more body fat, some people lose weight easier. And then if you're comparing yourself to someone that isn't starting at the same level of you, that's just not right either.
Exactly right. That's spot on.
It'd be like me being upset that I'm not a professional basketball player.
Yeah.
I could be the most skilled basketball player on earth, but I'm 5'10", fat and slow.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
It's true. It's true.
And then when I see people striving towards things that aren't really important while they're jeopardizing their health, their relationships, their potential to be a mother, that's when it's just really, really hard to see. And I just hope they can get out of that vicious cycle.
Oh, definitely. It's really not worth it. It's just,
So you had the turning point in
yes.
New York, things stopped working, and what was the next thing that you did?
I slowly started to eat again. Like I'd eat a whole banana, like, so it was very gradual, but like, so there was slow improvements, but that was hard, just to even make small, like being okay to eat. That was something that I really struggled with, like letting myself actually eat. Like that was a huge effort, because for years and years and years, you have this mentality of going, no, you can't eat that, you can't eat that, don't eat that. And so to actually try flip it on its head and be like, oh, it's okay for you to eat that, is something like I still struggle with to this day. I think I'm way more better at it now, but it's a daily thing for me, at least. I can't speak for others, but it's something that requires a lot of thought daily to not beat myself up for eating.
And when you saw the scales increasing,
Yeah.
how did that make you feel?
Well, I never really weighed myself initially in that period, because the scale was really bad for me. So, because I just check every day.
Yeah.
And then, so that was just something that didn't work for me. And the same with that counting calories. I can't do it because I'm very obsessive. Like I have the tendency to like, that's it. If I'm one like calorie over, like the whole day's ruined. Like it's just one of those things where I think I've learned over the years what works for me.
Yeah.
And so it was better to like focus on being healthy and kind of eating the right foods rather than weighing myself. So it's only probably in the past 3-4 months that I've actually weighed myself again, like in years, just because it's something that's never worked for me. And then I got rid of the scale. So it was just one of those things, like I've done it once, but yeah, it's hard. But I think, like I said, diet has really been helpful, because I started eating way more. Like when I came to you guys, I think I was just training and eating like the same, not rubbish, but like the lack of eating for quite some time, and probably until about maybe a year ago, maybe just shy of a year ago. And so it was hard putting on weight or like gaining muscle, but I had someone there as well watching me do it in a healthy way.
Yeah. And when like, sometimes when you start to eat more food, you actually lose more weight.
That's
right?
exactly what happened.
If you're in like a severe calorie deficit for a long period of time, your body is constantly in a stressed out state. So then this might sound ridiculous, but it's called your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, stands for NEAT. And your NEAT is how much energy you burn throughout the day.
Yeah.
Right. And some people are fidgety, some people are jumping all over the place. Steve Cooley has infinite energy. Right. But if Steve was in a calorie deficit for years and years and years, he'd talk slower, he'd move slower, and your body just naturally expends less calories at rest.
Yeah.
Then you start to increase your food, you feel better, and your body comes back to life, and then you actually expend more energy.
Yeah.
Right? So it happens all the time when like fit girls start eating more food, they tend to lose weight that first week or two.
Yeah, definitely. And like still to this day, I eat so much and I'm still feel like, oh, I should be gaining weight. Like, but it's just like you said, expending all that energy and going to boot camp. Like, because I'm putting in good food, I'm getting good results. So yeah, it's been a good change.
In regards to weight training, that's been like the game changer for you in regards to feeling better about yourself?
I love it. Like I really, really love weight training and like lifting heavy and pushing myself. I don't know. It's just, I love it. I love the feeling I get. Like endorphins are so good.
It is. And it's one of those things that while we always talk about performance over like body composition, I love a good before and after more than the next person. But when you're at your level, and there's very few ways you can go either high or down in body composition, and you're really dialed in around your food, then we can try and, I guess, make improvements through performance.
Yes.
And that can be running further, rowing further, skiing further, more intensity in the workout, or lifting more weights. So do you remember, I guess, back at Edgy Scout Hall, we always laugh about the big six, the yellow kettlebell?
Yes.
It was 6 kilos. And I distinctly remembering you doing a Romanian deadlift of 6 kilos. Oh, my legs are burning.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Kilos. And we're in the gym last Friday and you hit a new deadlift PB, which was what? How much?
85.
85. So you've increased your deadlift by what, 15? Is that right? Good math. 15 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
you increased your strength 15x.
Yes.
And I guess just like, that's not possible when you're in a carry deficit. That's not impossible when you're shooting for this unattainable, I guess, physique that in the end doesn't really matter that much.
No, it doesn't.
So what's been like the big, besides diet being really great, what's been the big, I guess, lesson from New York, half a banana, your mum worried about you, till like today? And what advice would you give to someone who struggles with that? And this can be an overweight person. It can be a person that wants to put on weight. It can be anyone that struggles with body issues. I don't care who you are. I don't care how confident you are. Everyone has something that they don't like about themselves.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me was perspective. That had to change because I don't know, there's two ways of looking at it. You can see it as putting on weight or you can see it as increasing muscle and I think having that perspective, like for example, as of recently, I don't fit into any of my clothes anymore. Like I just don't. And so I was like, oh, Jaunty, I put on so much weight. And he was like, no, you've put on muscle. And then those moments make me realize, I'm like, yeah, it's all about perspective. Like, yes, I don't fit into my clothes and I only fit into like baggy sweaters and activewear, but it's about, look how much healthier and stronger I am now. And so I think that's probably the biggest piece of advice I would give. It's like, it's about your perspective. It's about you going on this journey, but it's about, you choosing to be healthy. Like no one just goes on a diet and then sticks to it forever. I mean, great if you can, but it's about a lifestyle for me. Like it's about you choosing to be healthy. It should never be a diet. It should never be a short fix. It should be like, I want to choose to eat healthy. And sometimes I'm like, Di, I just want a pizza. And she's like, eat the pizza. And then I eat the pizza and I feel good because I know not every night I'm not having a pizza. Like it's about still living your life and enjoying it, but having that perspective to go, it's okay to have cheat days because for the rest of the week I'm good. Or I don't know. I think the biggest advice I'd give is it's all about perspective. And
even that word cheat day bothers me because the word cheat implies guilt.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be guilty about eating food. Like if you're over with your family on Saturday night and you guys want to eat a pizza, and I've been there, like I used to like dieting a lot too, and it's 3 hours before the night with the family, you're really looking forward to it, and you're sitting there on the Domino's website adding up the calories and working out how many slices you can have. It's just really unhealthy in the long term. If you have a short-term goal, 4 weeks, I'm getting married, I want to lose 2 kilos, perhaps then.
Yeah. Like all in reason. Like there's never, I don't know if I can ever give advice because there's always, I don't know, like there's always a different reason and there's always a different situation. But in terms of like lifelong things, I think it's all about perspective. It's how you, I don't know, navigate. I'm still on a journey myself and I'm still learning about it. But
I guess the biggest thing is like you are not the scale.
Yeah, like I'm so much more and I'm worth so much more than a number you see. Like I think, your worth is not a number, that's for sure. That's right.
We've had clients train for us for a month. They feel amazing. They've trained 12 times in the first 28 days, which is the most they've exercised in 10 years. They're feeling amazing. They've made friends. They love breakthrough. They jump on the scales. 1 second later, they're miserable.
Yeah.
And like that number should not define you as a person. That number should not define how you feel. That number is an indicator and nothing but an indicator of many, 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 many indicators.
Yeah.
Judge your, I guess, progress with your health and fitness. And it's so much more about just losing weight. Like for most people, it does start with weight loss. But then you discover your love of training, your love of health and fitness, your love of living that healthy lifestyle. You can pass it on to your kids, and it just trickles down the line.
Definitely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And what would your advice be to any girl who's walking on a treadmill and doesn't know how to lift weights?
Pick them up.
Pick them up.
Just pick them up. You've got to start somewhere. Like I don't know, like I was starting with those 6 kilogram deadlifts. Like you've got to start somewhere, like trust the process. Like, and if you don't know how to use them, find someone that knows how to. Like YouTube's good if you don't have access to a gym, but I don't know, get educated around it because it's so good. It's just so good. Just pick up the weights.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things for everyone with training is just being consistent.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Once people start doing weight training, 99.9% enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, you are going to be consistent. And there's nothing fun about going to a gym and walking on a treadmill, or there's nothing fun about riding a bike or doing the same Zumba class night after night. Like you have to, I guess, challenge your mind as much as your body for you to want to train on a consistent basis.
Definitely. And like you said, just consistency is everything. Like I cannot preach that enough. Just even there's some days I don't feel like going to the gym, and I'm like, just go because you'll know you'll feel better, and it adds up, and eventually you look back and you go, wow, like I've come such a far way, and it's just showing up for yourself, like more than anything else.
Yeah, and when I'm on a phone call with someone inquiring to get started, like I often say, like, believe it or not, my job in the first 28 days is to make you like go over that tipping point and fall in love with training. And I almost get laughed off the phone call. I'm not going to love it. And just like everyone does, it's just getting you to that point.
Yeah.
And I think like as important as consistency is just the environment, right? Like I love seeing you guys in there, like you and Brooke the other Friday doing deadlifts together, and you're both pushing each other, and just like exercise is fun in numbers. Like to this day, I train with Brody, Steve, or Mitch. Like just, and like everyone else, like I'm less disciplined when I'm not. So just find that group of people that you want to train with.
Oh, and it was a game changer. Like having Di in my corner, like I owe a lot of like my success to her, because although I'm the one who actually physically showed up and did the workout, and she was right there the whole time going, lift heavier, do this, like, and just being that source of like encouragement, even on days when I just didn't feel it. She's like, come on, you've got this. And I think back on advice, like find someone who's going to hold you accountable as well in the days you feel like you don't feel like showing up, because I don't know, I'm so thankful to have like a trainer like Di at Breakthrough that's just so present and so willing to go on the journey with me. And like because of her, I trust the process, because like she's educated and she knows what she's talking about, gives me a peace of mind that I'm in good hands. Like she's not just going to make me eat everything. Like she's going to teach me how to eat well, and she's going to teach me what I need to eat, how often I should eat. If I have a crappy meal, so what? Who cares? Like just, get back on track the next meal or the next snack. And I'm just thankful to have someone in my corner like Di, and that, Breakthrough offers that as well, which is awesome.
Every single person needs a hype man or hype woman.
Yeah.
Like a high five, a fist bump, one of my famous COVID elbows. Like when you need it most, that training partner in that environment is absolutely everything.
Oh, definitely. And even during lockdown, like I had a really bad week, and I said, Di, I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like moving. She's like, great, take the week off. And I was like, okay. Like even just having someone that goes, it's not all about killing yourself every workout. Like if you're not feeling it, it's okay. Like reevaluate tomorrow, have a couple days to just reset, go, what am I here for? What am I passionate about? How do I kickstart again? And I think that's also important too, like finding someone that's going to go, you don't have to do it every session, but that's there for you throughout your ups and your downs, especially because I think when they're there for you in your downs, it's easier for you to get back up and going again.
I had that discussion with John T about 6 months ago. He was helping me with an elbow injury. I was a bit scared about it. And like a physio's job sometimes is just to give someone permission to get back into training, or Di's job is to give you permission just to take that rest day. And it's good you can trust her to make those decisions together.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. I wouldn't do it alone. It's not a journey I'd do alone. That's for sure.
Well, Selma, I really, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else you want to say?
Pick up weights. That's it. Pick up the weights.
Thanks for listening, guys. Have a lovely, lovely day.
Bye.